Connie Teaberry Lindsay, class of '88, is it?
Yes, sir.
All right. That was one of my first years of covering sports, and I first saw you playing basketball. I remember, well, first of all, I had a sister that played high school basketball, different school. I remember they were playing Lutheran North. This is before I started joining the media, but I knew about Connie Teaberry. She was tall. I was like, oh, they got Connie Teaberry. You better. I had to tell her about 5, 6 different things. She could score, she could rebound. I had to do everything because I knew how good a player you were. And of course, track and field, you went on to great things, but was basketball or track which was your first love, or which one did you play first, or was it both at the same time?
I would actually say that track was probably my first love, but Mr. Mack made it my love at Lutheran North.
Did you start off before high school doing the summer track? There's a lot of summer track clubs, age group competition, or did you do any of that, or Lutheran North was kind of the beginning for you?
No, I actually did it in middle school, track and field and basketball. Got my start at St. Matthew Lutheran School, and just had a positive experience with the coaches. And once I got to Lutheran North, I think Mr. Richburg and Mr. Terrace were very integral in getting me involved a little bit more there. But basketball was where I got my conditioning. Yes, Mr. Mack didn't play.
No, he didn't.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
What gravitated you toward the high jump? So many good events that you're good at, great athlete, but the high jump, what gravitated you to that particular event?
Peter Richenberg at Lutheran North. He's actually my art teacher at that time, and he actually saw something that no one else saw, and it actually ended up helping pay for me to go to the Mizzou high jump camp or track camp, and that's how I kind of got started with high jump.
Your experience at Lutheran North as a student athlete, what did that mean to you to be a Lutheran North Crusader?
You know, it's a family atmosphere. It's one of those places, if you've ever had an opportunity to experience it, where everyone had a hand on you. Everyone was integral in making sure that you went the right route. Everyone was a part of, from the teachers to the janitors to everyone, making sure that you did what you were supposed to do when you were supposed to do it. So it's one of those things that's where the family started, you know. And I thank my parents for Brendan Freeman Teaberry for making sure that I had that background that has kind of transcended me into giving that to other student athletes.
You went to Kansas State in the Big 8 conference,
yes.
I believe, and great track, but you really blew up, became an All-American several times over. How did that help your confidence developing into an All-American track and field athlete?
You know, to be honest, confidence wasn't really my thing, but competitiveness was. I didn't know how much ability I really had, but I was good at it. So getting to Kansas State, really, to be honest, was a means to my education. Making sure I graduated with a degree, and I ended up with a nursing degree there. But I was very competitive. I don't care if it was a guy, girl, whoever it was, you wasn't beating me that day. So just making sure that the things that Mr. Mack and Mr. Terrace and all the other coaches that put a hand on me had taught me that you don't give up. You know, so that's what got me over into, you know, at Kansas State, making sure, you know, that I reached that 6-time All-American status, and making sure that I was trying to be the best at what I was doing.
Now it takes us to the Olympic trials, which were in Atlanta. First of all, your goal going into the trials and just the excitement about being able to first try out for an Olympic, U.S. Olympic team.
Yep, I did it twice. The first time didn't go so well. 1992, I tried out, and it was more so just of a thing that I had made it. I didn't think I was good enough to compete with those girls. I mean, we had girls that were 5'4", jumping 6'6". And then I actually came back home and was starting to work more so in my nursing field. And I had a lot of coaches from different places calling me saying, hey, come coach here and train. And I'm like, I spent 4 years getting this nursing degree. I'm not about to coach, first of all. And I think I'm done training because my knee is still hurting. But actually sat back, and after like the 5th call, was like, hey, maybe these people see something in me that I don't see in myself. And then that catapulted me to go to Kentucky and train, and that's where I met my husband, DeMarcus. He was an athlete there. And from that point, it was no turning back. There's so many levels of athletics that people don't understand. You got the high school, you got your college, but being a professional athlete, there were so many other sacrifices that I did not realize in college that I had to give up, you know, being a professional athlete. So being able to do those things and then work out and coach at the same time, transcended me to see a different level at the athletics, and actually trying out for the Olympic trials was that first step the first time. And when I didn't make it, I was actually in a hospital room being helping with a patient overnight, and I was watching Jackie Joyner-Kersee on TV, and that's when track came on at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I was welcome. I know.
And I'm sitting up there watching track, and eventually I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. And so that kind of catapulted me to making sure I got to training and made the team the second time.
Only 3 people get out of that event. What was the excitement knowing that you have made the United States Olympic team?
Oh man, that's like that exclamation point. When you've put the work and the time in and you made the sacrifices, and mom and dad has made sacrifices for you to do certain things, so they're giving up things so that you can do the things and reach a new level that they've never reached. It's one of those things that it's just like I said, the exclamation point to your career. You've given up, you've sacrificed, you've dedicated so much to the sport, and to reach that level and actually get to represent the United States of America, as a high jumper. That was pretty cool.
I always say the most fun part of watching the Olympics, I mean, the sports are all great, but the parade of athletes coming into the stadium, you got to do it in Atlanta, in your in the United States. That experience for you, what was that like?
It actually, it was hot, to be honest.
What is the sound from? It's a little hot.
It was, when you sit on TV, you don't realize how long. It's like 4 hours. You're sitting over we were sitting over in another stadium, and they had us in stockings and dresses and hats, and man, by the time we got out there, our makeup is all sweaty, and but no, just walking out there and getting to wave at the fans and being a part of that. And I think that particular year, man, I can't think of his name. That's gonna bother me. Lit the cauldron.
Ali.
Boxer Ali, yes. To see him do that, it was just a rewarding experience. It really was.
Did your family, did they get to come to Atlanta, and what was that like sharing that experience with your family?
A lot of people think that I got slighted because I didn't make an Olympic team that was in another country. But I had been to other countries. I made 2 world championship teams, and I had seen it from traveling and preparing for the games or the teams that I had made. The biggest, pat on the back was, being able to make that team and have my family and high school coaches and people that had supported me be able to see me compete. And a lot of times, you're lucky in a track and field event if your grandma's sitting in the stands when you jump at 9 o'clock in the morning, so to have family and friends there supporting me, it was rewarding.
Do you still have your USA paraphernalia from '96, uniform, all of that?
Yeah, I actually pulled it out for my youngest son one day, and we took pictures of all of it. It's in a Samsonite suitcase that I used to travel when I went to Europe. It's all packed up in there, so they'll get to have it when I move on.
You're now a coach now, Northern Illinois. Done an excellent job. Been a great experience for you. You look like you've helped really turn that program around and just doing some nice things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think the biggest thing, like I said, from grade school to high school to professional, I have been privileged to have coaches that really cared about my success academically and athletically. And now to be able to give that back to student athletes and help them to get their education on my dime. I've had kids that have never flown because of places they've been. We've taken them on spring break trips, so even traveling to different cities that they never would have gotten the opportunity to, it's so rewarding to me. But the biggest thing, everyone thinks it's the athletic part, but seeing those young ladies, and we only have women, walk across that stage with their degree in hand, and giving them that opportunity is very rewarding for me. And especially, like I said, we don't have men, we only have women, so to actually, women's sports is evolving. And when I was coming through, Jackie was the one kind of paving the way. So for us to be able to give back to our, not just men, but our women in athletics, I'm glad to be a part of that.
Well, congratulations, Connie Teaberry.
Thank you.
Lindsay, Olympian from St. Louis. Go right ahead, one more thing.
I do want to apologize for being late. We are from, right now, we live in a little rural area, where the scroll is our traffic. So I was not prepared for the traffic in the city. I was not prepared. So please apologize, my apologies.
No problem at all. Congratulations again.
Thank you.